How's it going, everyone? Eddie loves baddies that will beat you up here. And oh wow, today we're talking about an anime focused on a baddie that will beat you up. Whoa, what a coincidence! May I ask you for one final thing? A fall 2025 anime based off a 2018 light novel written by Nana Utori with art from Satsuki. Our anime rendition comes to us from the studio of Leiden Films, a relatively new studio that isn't known for having, only bangers. No, they're a bit more hit or miss, but sometimes you get anime like Call of the Night, thanks to Shaft motherfuckers migrating over there these past years, I'm not gonna lie. Or you get a banger like Berserk 2016. Yeah. But the jokes aside, Leiden Films, I think, is getting more recognition in the space in recent years with their projects. And I'm mostly here anyways today to give this anime praise, so that's a W regardless. Shout out Leiden Films, y'all did your thing with this one. Now I'm gonna be honest here, Leiden Films, it's more about the quality of the source material, most likely, as opposed to the actual anime adaptation quality, but whatever. I watched the anime for this. I don't know the novel for this. I enjoyed the anime for this. It wouldn't exist without Leiden Films. So still shout out Leiden Films here. Because without them, I wouldn't have met Scarlet. Who is Scarlet, you may ask? Oh boy. Let's back up a second. What the fuck is this series even about? Part of me wants to give the real synopsis, and the other part of me wants to just say it's about throwing hands. But here's Mal's description. Courtesy of, well, Mal, I don't know where I was going with that. Ever since childhood, Scarlet L. Van Diemen has preferred to deal with wrongdoers by using her fists. However, to preserve her family's image, she suppresses her instincts and tolerates the abuse inflicted by her childish fiancé, second Prince Kyle von Palestine. Only Kyle's brother, first Prince Julius, is aware that there is more to Scarlet than meets the eye, but she cares little about his growing interest. In the middle of a ball, Kyle accuses Scarlet of harassing Terraneza Hopkins, a commoner that has taken his heart. Scarlet's engagement to Kyle is nullified, leaving her outraged that all of her efforts to endure thus far have amounted to nothing. Scarlet dons her studded leather gloves, once again becoming the Mad Dog Princess. Joined by Julius and werebeast Monica, Scarlet is ready to give filthy nobles a taste of their own medicine. One punch at a time. First off, villainous anime are so fun, bro. This has solidified my love for the genre. And a lot of the villainous stories I've been consuming have been in the form of webtoons lately, or webcomics in general. They slap. I don't know, there's something about them that it's really captured my heart lately. And this is one of the more recent ones, me watching at the end of last year. This series, honestly, I learned a lot from it. It's really showed me that I don't use the Black Air Force energy imbued in me, like cursed energy in JJK, to my fullest potential. Because Scarlet is willing to drop anyone for almost any reason. Whether that be a corrupted higher up fancy pants or the guy that she likes. To everyone's dismay around her, I think that the reactions to Scarlet from the people around her are one of the funniest things in the series. And that's the beauty of her character. And is a huge percentage to the appeal of the entire show. But it isn't just a show. As most light novels do, this has a manga that I would not be reading. Y'all got that. I didn't know when to sneak that fun fact in, so I'm putting it here. What other characters do we have? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm a pretty big fan of a few characters from this cast, namely Scarlet, duh. She's an entertaining MC, elegant and badass, absolute girl boss, super extra in the portrayal of the archetype, but it's a gag that works so well and is actually creative in its use with the larger plot. Hell, she has white hair, which is commonly associated with strength, whether that's divinity, a contrast with a character with skewed morality, or just a badass one in general. It's one of the cooler tropes in fiction that goes underappreciated. But I don't think she's so far into the territory where people should cry about, a Mary Sue. Because half the time those arguments are dumb as fuck anyways. So if you're going to call a character that, you better have, what is the term? Extreme claims need extreme evidence or something like that. You know what I mean? I think for the story that this is, I don't think they care exactly about the logistics of all the fighting and powers and stuff. There is a system, they do explain things, but at the end of the day, I'm watching this and enjoying Scarlet beat someone the fuck up. I don't really care how she does it. I know she has a power and it's cool and it helps, but but I don't know. Like I said, I don't think too many people are saying that, but I did see one person saying that when I was doing research for this video. But I also think that just comes down to what type of series it is and if you're into it or not. because main characters obviously make their series. And while this series does have stakes, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here because we're supposed to be in the character section, it is still kind of like half gag-ish. So if it was a series with a little bit less gag-ish and more like important stuff all the time, at all times, then I could maybe see it, but I don't know. Next, I'll mention a few that I really, really like. First off, we got Julius Sama. In the explanation earlier of the plot, it was mentioned Julius is the not dickhead brother, but he is a character that still specialized in being a dickhead, namely a rage baiter. One could even call him the master baiter, which you think would be a terrible candidate for Scarlet's potential love interest in the series, seeing what type of character she is. But no, it's actually quite the opposite. If anything, it just makes the interest more frustrating for her and more entertaining for us. Let me explain. Bro kind of teases her throughout the entire series, but there's one moment that exemplifies this the most. There's a moment at the end of the season where Bro is said to have powers pertaining to who he loves in relation to who he loves, however you want to put it. Basically, it wouldn't activate without that existing. I don't want to get too much into it because it's a spoiler moment, but even then, he denies it. Farther rage baiting Scarlet. Like, homie, we all know the way the power works. If you didn't love her, you would have been able to use them, but he still won't say the words because he knows that's what she wants to hear. She wants the validation, the proof, the confirmation, but he won't say it. And I don't know whether that's him rage baiting her, like I've been joking this whole time, or like he wants her to realize that for herself, maybe. I don't fucking know. I just know that it's pretty hilarious. He's also a scrapper who can hold his own, which is actually pretty good for Scarlet's potential fellow. As much as I joked about the rage baiting, it's nice having someone that can stand by her and still hold his own. They even do scrap at some point. Hint, hint. Don't worry, it's a body taking over stuffsies, not domestic abuse stuffsies. So that's another W. Also, it is funny that for a series centered around a character who scraps purely for the love of the game, it's ironic that the power of love, which close enough is a form of the power of friendship, is what won them the game. Now, while I've been saying that Julius is great for her and is probably the right option for what you would say would be a ship, because it's like the canon relationship that's probably going to happen, I'm kind of on demon time right now. I'm kind of in my opposition moments. I'm kind of in my villain arc. I would ship Scarlet with this simp right here. Crown Prince of Flame, Rhea Vonkish. He's that asshole character that you either hate him or you love him. I love him. He also loves Scarlet. He loves Scarlet because of her ability to kick ass, namely his ass. And this kind of farther rage baits Scarlet. You're going to notice in this series, it's the author's job. It is their life goal to find new ways to rage bait Scarlet. Unfortunately, she's very entertaining when angry. It's like a lot of people, like authors will joke, or like I've been seeing a lot of things on Instagram with like other fanfic writers or other authors or just people writing a story with a character that they really are close to. And there's always the jokes about making your main character suffer the most. But normally that's like death of loved ones, I don't know, crazy battles, being an outcast, all this crazy stuff. With Scarlet, it's like just enough to where it's still an issue, but not like your life is over. No, we're just gonna mildly infuriate you, and then she just retaliates with ass whipping, and that's her stress reliever. So yeah, goated. But yeah, this dude is my fave. He looks cool. He looks great. He's got a dragon, so W. He can use Earthquake from Pokemon mixed with Flare Blitz, Hyper Beam, and Quick Attack, and actually helps out the gang later on in a huge way, despite starting off as an antagonistic force. I low-key, like I said, ship him with Scarlet despite the show's warnings. And jokes aside, it is because when they are fighting together or just talking to each other, his dialogue is one of the very few that can kind of keep up with her, in my opinion. The other being Julius himself. But I don't know, because of the disparity between how Scarlet is and the rest of the characters and just the level of thought process and just kind of goals and head above their shoulders. Flaws aside, he bounces off her really well, in my opinion. Even moments where it's not just jokes. Next up is a character named Diana, and she is a great example of this trope that I really love, of a younger character with a bigger grand role thrust upon them. Whether they want to follow that and then change their mind, or if they don't want that and want to be something else, like obviously, like a good example of this would be the Hidden Inventory arc in JJK. If you've seen that, you know what I mean. A looser example would be like any anime where a character is called to do something at a young age. I don't know. But with Diana, she's the version that wants to just be a normal kid, while everyone else treats her as like this, oh my god, it's saying Diana, you know. And that's always an interesting kind of dynamic to me, because I would never know how to deal with that situation. It's such a rough one, but it is such a rich trope in series, I think. There's a lot of like mini antagonists that aren't that interesting, but the main one is, and her name is Terranessa, mentioned in the My Anime List synopsis. kind of a spoiler, but I think it's worth mentioning that she is basically the protagonist in any other anime. She's been isekai. She got cool powers, working with a higher power. I'm trying not to get into too much stuff. And she does think she's the main character because of this. She acts like it. But as I kind of made it clear, unlike normal main characters, she's kind of a dickhead. And not like the entertaining main character dickhead. No, it's like just an asshole. Admittedly, she is a cute dickhead, which is a very weird sentence I didn't think I would say. I adore her design. But that's just the color pink moving me. It's definitely a fun character that you want to root against, in my opinion. Next up, let's talk about the music. There are some really great examples of music outside of obviously your opening and the ending, but there are some nice examples that are recurring that I think are worth pointing out. First off, the title intro is like this nice little or something like that, and it's pretty nice. Whenever Scarlet is fighting, though, is the best thing ever. They always play some sort of classical music as she's over here beating an entire room's ass. And that is the best use of music I've seen in a while. I don't know. I guess it's over-exaggerating, but I'm just telling you, it's worth watching for these moments. And to cap it off, the show's appearance, despite lackluster animation, is presented well. I think it looks good, like, when I'm looking at things. The animation, I don't remember being really terrible. Like I said, it just doesn't stand out too much. But I really like things like, how the eyes look, or even the clothing in this world and the subtleties that make this art style work. Yes, the designs do a lot of the heavy lifting in a good way, but that's because that helps things like building character, silhouette, language, and yeah, clothes are underrated, guys. I hope you're wearing some right now. Unless you're shitting or showering while watching this or something, but I don't know how many of you are actually doing that. A lot of the designs are pretty awesome for the characters who matter. But overall, may I ask for one final thing, Slabs? Not only is it a show that is wonderful at maintaining the balance between serious and playful, but it also has a great cast of personalities that range from That's So Me, What a Girl Boss, to That's So Me, What a Simp for Said Girl Boss. Jokes aside, the overarching plot isn't the worst thing I've ever seen either. It is mostly a decent show that is elevated by its leads and its comedy at times. But I do think it is worth watching, if not just to see the scrapping because it's funny as fuck. But farther than that, Scarlett's character is just really entertaining, and some of the banter we get ensued. That's what I kind of cared about more from the series, more than some of the important stuff that I was supposed to care about. But that's just how media is sometimes. You don't know how it's going to affect you and what you're going to leave with and what you're going to, have stick in your mind more often. But what did you guys think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Would you want Scarlett to punch you? You sicken me. Hope you all have a wonderful day. I am out, and goodbye. Peace. Also subscribe. Yeah.